Meeting of the Saraville Board of Education was faxed to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger in accordance with Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Further, in accordance with NJSA 10:4-6 of 21, a copy of this notice was posted outside the Secretary's office, and a copy was also filed with the Clerk of the Borough of Saraville. Please rise for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. DeAndrea, roll call, please.
Mr. Balfour.
Here.
Mrs. Bacco.
Here.
Mrs. Bloom.
Here.
Mr. Brzezinski.
Here.
Mrs. DePinto.
Here.
Mr. McEnroe.
I'm present.
Mrs. Trapp.
Here.
Mr. Walsh.
Here.
And Mr. Sine.
Here. We have two presentations this evening. First of all, are there any of the students from the UES here tonight, the Samsel Upper Elementary School? Okay, if you could come forward, please. Right out in front. Right on top. Right on the front over here. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you saw in the newspaper, but we have some active lobbyists here among us. As part of a history project at the Samsel Upper Elementary School, these students started studying the history of New Jersey, and they discovered that it's got a state flower and various other designations that are part of this state and part of our history. But there was one designation that they noticed that was missing, and it was the designation of a state candy. Now, immediately they thought, well, why isn't there a state candy? Well, what they decided to do with the help of their teachers was actually lobby Trenton to designate a state candy of saltwater taffy. And the reason they selected saltwater taffy is because they did the research on this. They figured that it relates to the Jersey Shore. They have a history as to how it was created. And they thought with New Jersey being known for its shore communities, with New Jersey being known for the Jersey Shore, what more fitting tribute could there possibly be than saltwater taffy? And if there are any more UES students, feel free to come up. So they actually appeared before one of the committees of the State Assembly, and they gave testimony with Assemblyman John Wisniewski as to why this bill should become law. So they've had a great opportunity to actually see this process in action. And I'm also pleased to announce that the New Jersey State Assembly yesterday actually approved the legislation from their side designating saltwater taffy as the New Jersey state candy. Now, following this, the bill now also needs to go to the Senate, and there needs to be a Senate companion bill drafted. It then needs to be approved by the Senate, and then it would go to the governor. Now, the reason we've got our students here today is part of the lobbying process, part of the advocacy process, is getting people on board and getting support. Well, the Board of Education has decided that they also want to adopt a resolution or a statement that says that we as a board support the legislation which you helped draft. So what we were doing is we drafted this resolution, which I will read, and then we're going to send this to Assemblyman Wisniewski. We're going to send this to State Senator Joe Vitale, who is our state senator. We're also going to send it to Senator Jim Whelan, who is the senator that represents Atlantic City, where saltwater taffy was actually created. And we're also going to send it to the Saraville Mayor and Council so that they can also help us advocate for your legislation, and to the New Jersey School Boards Association so that all of the board members in the state of New Jersey can help you get this legislation passed. So the resolution which we're about to adopt reads, whereas it has been brought to this board's attention that legislation known as A-1715 exists, proposing the designation of saltwater taffy as the New Jersey state candy. And whereas this legislation was drafted as a result of the research conducted by the 5th grade students at the Samsel Upper Elementary School in Saraville, New Jersey, and whereas this research revealed the origins of saltwater taffy, the non-existence of any designation of a state candy, the appropriateness of saltwater taffy receiving the designation as the New Jersey state candy, and that such adoption would support tourism and the economies of the New Jersey Shore communities. And whereas Assembly Bill A-1715 was approved by the New Jersey State Assembly on Monday, June 16th, following testimony provided by the Samsel Upper Elementary School students. And whereas this board's constituents, our students, desire this bill to become law, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, and the State of New Jersey supports A-1715 designating saltwater taffy as the New Jersey state candy, A 1715. And be it further resolved that following adoption of the Senate bill, that the Board of Education calls on Governor Chris Christie to sign this legislation into law. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to Assemblyman John Wisniewski, Assemblyman Craig Coughlin, State Senator Joe Vitale, State Senator James Whelan, Governor Chris Christie, the Sayreville Mayor and Borough Council, and the New Jersey School Boards Association. Can I have a motion from someone on the board to adopt?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mrs. Bloom.
Second.
Do I have a second? By Mrs. Strapp. Are there any comments from the members of the board?
Make sure
I was-
Governor Christie doesn't eat all the taffy.
As a member of this Board of Education, but even more importantly as a resident of Sayville, I'm very proud to see on TV and to see you take this to and actually make something happen. And I hope everybody in Trenton that passes bills can learn from how to do this thing and do it quickly and do it effectively. And I want to thank you for the candy. And Mrs. Marr and Mrs. Brady, how many times over the years have I said at this microphone, another thing, good thing coming out of the UES? So congratulations.
Really, for me, it's not a farewell. I believe Frank and I are going to be friends, so I think the last 10 years have fostered that. And
He's picked
really-
on you insensibly.
yeah, but as you said, Mike, earlier, being Italian, that's part of our heritage, so we can handle that. So it's just been a pleasure working for him. Nothing more to say than that.
Mr. Byrne?
When I took this position this year, I said to Frank, our relationship's going to change here, Frank. And one of the signs of great affection that Frank always had with me over the past year was how he disagreed with me. And so that in pectore, I know that Frank's heart was always there, and I'm very pleased to say that, I don't know if I can share this now, but Frank has agreed to establish a nonprofit in regard to special education and para-employment in particular, that he would like to bring forward, and he'd like to prototype it here in the Sayreville School District. So I'm very pleased to publicly announce that this evening. We are very grateful to Frank, certainly for his, as has been mentioned previously, his leadership. And one thing though that I would like to honor Frank though about is his tremendous sense of loyalty. Frank always stood by you, thick or thin. You always sat down, you may have had your disagreements, and we may have hashed different things out, but you knew that when Frank gave his word, it was his word. And you could go to battle with that. And for that particular character piece, Frank, I truly honor you for. And we do hope that Dr. Labby continues in that tradition. But you certainly have been very, very supportive of all of us in the administrative team, and we're going to miss that tremendously. And we wish you Godspeed and all the choice of blessings as he guides you forth in terms of the new experiences of your life.
And as I'm coming around, I should note that at the mayor and council meeting, Mrs. Kilcummins stood up and said a veritable plethora of wonderful things about Dr. Alfano as well. Mrs. Eichner.
Well, I just want to thank Dr. Alfano for seeing in me an elementary school teacher 10 years ago, something that he helped to nurture. He encouraged me to go on for administrative positions at the high school. And I've worked closely with him for 10 years now, and he's taught me so much. He's been an excellent mentor from the time I set foot here in the high school as a vice principal. And after only 1 year going over to central office, he's taught me an enormous amount. And loyalty is the word that I think of most often when I think of Frank. And we will miss him. We really will. Thank you for all you've done for us, Frank.
Mrs. Facenda.
Frank, I'm the new kid on the block, and I've thanked you before for bringing me to wonderful Sayreville. I've loved every minute working for you. I thought I knew some things coming in because I had actually been a CSA in a different district, but I learned a whole lot from Frank Alfano this year. He's one of the toughest, smartest, savviest people that I know, but underneath it all, there's a heart of gold, and I can't thank you enough for that, so thank you.
Mr. Walsh.
Yeah, I'm not one of the paisans like Mike and Emilio, but
No reason to apologize.
a lot like Lucy. Before I was a colleague of Dr. Alfano's, I worked here in the district. I was his employee. So I didn't quite know what to expect when I started on the board. But whenever Dr. Alfano sends his highlights out, I don't know if he knows I read them all the way through, but he always puts some leadership advice on the bottom. And one of the things that's always on there is about the dysfunctions of a team. And one of the things that struck me the first day on the board, it's one of the things it says is fear of conflict, artificial harmony. And strong leaders aren't scared of conflict. And that's the culture that I found when I started on the board, that we could get in there and we could argue it out, and we came out as a team. You know, we could all see different ways, but you had the ability to fight it out, say where we had to be in there, and he respected your opinion, he let you talk, he gave his opinion strongly too. But that's what, at the end of the day, that's what makes a strong team and a strong school district. And again, I just want to thank you for your leadership. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect, but I really enjoyed my time here with you on the board, and good luck in all you do. Thank you.
Mr. Brzezinski.
Dr. Alfano, I'd like to wish you a lot of luck, health. You're a young man, you're going out at the top of your game. I know you'll probably take a couple days off and be working down at Nagel's Hot Dogs place there, but I wish you well in your future endeavors, and thank you for the years you've given Sayreville.
Mrs. Backo.
Dr. Alfano, you probably don't remember, but we probably started out together in the middle school.
Oh, he remembers.
At that time, we probably didn't think we'd be sitting here together. But one of the things I do have to admire you for was your open door policy. And as John says, you were never afraid of the conflict. You always left that door open. You left it open to parents and even to us as board members. I want to wish you well in your future. And you are leaving a legacy here. I mean, and this building is something to attest to. And I'm sure it wasn't easy going through this. But most of my experience with you, I'm sure, has been in the budget meetings. And we could say, John, you should have been those. There was many conflict there.
That's okay.
But we always worked it out, and we always had a shoestring to work on, and we still came out with a decent, good budget in the end.
Done pretty well.
We did good. So I wish you luck, and I'm sure you'll do well in whatever your future holds.
Mrs. DePinto.
Dr. Alfano, I've worked with you for the past 3 years on the board, but before that, I had the opportunity for about 10 years to work with you as a parent. And those were very good years through PTOs, through just being a parent, through knowing you were always there for all the PTOs, for all the children. And it was always good to know that even a parent could just call you and be able to walk in your office and your secretary say, oh, do you want to see him? Oh, we can do that. We didn't know. Yeah, he'll see you. Oh, okay. So it was always good to know that your heart was always there for the children. And then becoming a board member, even if we didn't see eye to eye, it was always that you had our back. No matter what, you had our back. If we made a mistake, okay, let's fix it. You had everybody's back, whether it be your staff, your board members. It was always good to know that you were in our corner. No matter if we made a mistake or you didn't believe in what we believed in, it was always good to know we can call you and say, I may have made a mistake, help me out. And your loyalty will always be there, no matter what you do, and I wish you the best of luck in everything.
And Dr. Alfano, you're my fourth superintendent, which makes me think I'm hard to work with.
You've been here forever. You've been here 20 years.
But you made reference to the fact that when you came here, you weren't in a good place personally. Well, if you recall, when you came here, I don't think we were in a good place in terms of credibility with the community. As a matter of fact, I know you recall, probably the first incident that we had, which actually wasn't even his fault, was that our former superintendent had decided that in the midst of a budget crisis, it was a good idea for Dr. Alfano to have unbudgeted office furniture.
And I told him 5 times I don't want
And
it.
Dr. Alfano didn't even want it.
I'll take the shoebox.
But as soon as Dr. Alfano came in, basically we started to heal. As a district, we immediately started to come together and move on, and we started, and the word was used, legacy. We started together as a board superintendent team to build a legacy. And we've built buildings together. Our curriculum is stronger than it was when you first came in. Our technology is stronger when you first came in. I think you hired great people. But the thing that I will most remember you for is your heart of gold. You absolutely, truly cared. It truly was a passion for you. And you truly cared about people and about students. And that's what you are about. That's who you are. And that's the legacy that I will always remember Frank Alfano for. And you're right. If someone had a concern, your door was always open to have that conversation and talk about it and see what we could do to solve it. And I know Michael attests to this too. As board president, in terms of, parent issues, when you've got a superintendent who isn't good at that, you find out very quickly, because every single issue that they deal with, you then deal with. And not a lot of stuff in terms of parent issues or parent concerns or student concerns crossed my desk as board president. And Mr. McEnroe, I'm confident that you attested to that as well, that, as board president, we weren't dealing with a lot of that stuff because we had a great front man who handled this district on a day-to-day basis. And Dr. Alfano, I'm going to miss you, and I truly thank you for that and for your contributions to Sayreville. We have for you a cake. So we will celebrate. You'll have a chance to cut your own cake, and we'll have a chance to celebrate with you tonight and congratulate you. We also have a gift from the board. We know that you don't like a lot of fanfare, so we will hand that to you privately. And then Mr. McEnroe has another presentation for your retirement dinner on Thursday, which he will present. But it's a small and fitting tribute that we think that you will absolutely enjoy.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Alfano, Godspeed and best wishes.
Thank you. Is there any other business? Hearing none, I'll take a I'm sorry.
Got a public one.
I have to open up to public. If you wish to speak, please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Mrs. Kilcummins, would you like to? I mean, it was so outstanding at the Borough Council meeting, just in case these people here didn't hear it.
She'd like to have a piece of cake, Mr. Sire.
I think he just invited.
No.
Kevin Frank may be going, but you're still here.
That's right, you can get him next meeting.
Yes, I will. Oh, the new superintendent, oh,
Yeah. His
God
name is
bless him.
Labby.
What's his name?
His name is Labby.
Labby?
Look him up, L-A-B-B-E.
Oh, okay, look him up.
We told him all about you.
I'll give you his cell phone.
I'm sure you have. I think I'll have to introduce myself and let
I
him
showed him
know.
a picture, and I said she sits right up front.
Yeah, look out for her. But what I said to Dr. Alfano, and that's no lie, I said he had his heart and soul for the community. And I watched him with Mrs. Brady, with the students when they came here to portray the Board of Education. And he's so passionate, he's just caring, and he has a lot of patience for them. And that shows me a lot when someone is very patient with everyone, and he's even been patient with me. So I think he knows, though, I'm always for a good school system. And I often said, I just was looking out for the bang for the buck. And with Sayreville, our taxes and whatnot, but it is a great community, believe it or not. People want to come here, and it seems especially with children with special education, and probably Mr. Burns knows. And I have a neighbor, too, which transferred from New York to Sayreville with a good school system and a good special ed. But a good school system is the heart and soul of a community, and that's what makes a community. And we have to thank our leader, and we have to thank, believe it or not, our Board of Education also.
Everybody? Still my heart. Mrs. Kilcummins, you should leave on that note.
I should leave on that note. Well, I said to Dr. Alfano, the only thing I wanted was a sign. Every time I go by East Brunswick High School, I get so jealous. And I heard the money that you transferred into the capital, 800 some. Can't we borrow a little bit of money for a school sign out front? We had state championships. We have everything. I know what's going on in the middle school. I see when report cards are due and whatnot, and go by the high school, nothing. The mayor wants to get, for the railroad sign, home of the bombers. So, I mean,
We got an app now.
can't you find, oh, yeah, we have the app, okay. I don't go, I don't even text. I don't go on app. But I want a sign out front. So I hope you can find the money there to put and erect a sign.
We have a sign.
I don't think East Brunswick should really show us up. But either students, what's going on, and believe it or not, seniors like me in the community, I have no children in the school system, but I like to know what's going on in the high school. And a lot of parents, I mean, if it takes for me to get a survey and get a petition from the people to spend that board money on a sign, I'm willing to do so.
I'll sign that.
You'll sign the petition.
I agree with you.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Unfortunately,
Thank,
for once.
thank you, Mrs. Gilchrist.
Thank you.
And just so you know, one of my favorite conversations with Dr. Alfano regarding that sign, he called me up one day and I asked him about the sign, and he says, "So help me, Kevin, I'm going to get in a truck and I'm going to run it over." And it was right around this time of year, and I was coming home from work, and I went by the high school, and they had the drunk driving car all crushed up in front. I called him up. I said, "Frank, it's still there."
It's like the Florida snowball. It just doesn't work.
Anyone else for public? Hearing none, we'll close public. Can I take a motion to adjourn? By Dr. McEnroe, second by Pinto. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And ladies and gentlemen, please join us for cake and coffee.